Greetings to all the learners. Welcome to CEC lecture. The topic of analysis is Constructivism and International Relations Theory. In this lecture, we shall attempt to understand constructivism in the broader framework of international relations theory. In this lecture, we shall elaborate on the key ideas of the constructivist perspective with special reference to the very important work by Alexander Weden. International relations is a domain that has been perceived in a very conflictual manner by the realist perspective. Statism, self-help, survival were the key 3 S of the realist perspective. Now, in order to challenge this prevailing perspective, the end of the Cold War presented an important context, namely that nobody thought that there will be collapse of Soviet Union. Nobody thought that international relations reality would no longer be seen with reference to the dynamics of ensuring national interest at the expense of the other. With time, there was this very important realization that international relations is a socially constructed phenomena. The focus should be therein on the actors, the agents, and their environment structures. Actors interact with each other and negotiate their positions, that is, ideas, interests, and even their own identities. Constructivism in international relations presents this very important aspect, namely, it rejects the pessimistic side of international relations. It presents a much more dynamic perspective towards global governance, wherein the focus is on how ideas have a bearing with respect to the way we perceive and comprehend international reality. When we try to understand constructivism, we must understand that constructivism is also a challenge to the rationalist mainstream theory, the perspectives and ideas of international relations. It presented how ideas, norms, values, and identities are created and constructed. Alexander Weden, American political scientist, made very important contribution towards the field of international relations with reference to constructivism. Very important works of Alexander Weden that we shall be focusing for this lecture are Alexander Weden's work in 1992, Anarchy is What States Make of It, The Social Construction of Power Politics. This was a very popular article published in International Organization. Alexander Weden's very important book, Social Theory of International Politics, published in the year 1999, Cambridge University Press. Alexander Weden points out, and we quote, that is, the identities and interests of purposive actors are constructed by these shared ideas rather than given by nature. While talking about identities, Alexander Weden talks about 4 types of identities. What are they? Let us understand. The person or the corporate, second, type, third, with reference to role, and fourth, collective. We get the term type when we read Alexander Weden's work from Jim Pearson. And what does it mean? It implies social category or label that is suitable for the persons who have one or more same characteristics in form of appearance, behavioral value, attitudes and values. Kenneth Waltz wrote a very important work, Theory of International Politics. And Kenneth Waltz's ideas, they were the key guiding assumptions and features with reference to the neo-realist perspective in international relations. Kenneth Waltz assumed that the only interest of state is survival. When we read the work of Alexander Whedon, we get very important insights, that is, national interest has 4 objectives. Alexander Whedon does not dismiss survival, but he also points out that when we talk of national interest, there are 4 objectives. What are they? First, the interest of survival. Second, autonomy, independence. Third, economic well-being. Fourth, collective self-esteem. Identity and interest consist of shared ideas, and that this identity is a prerequisite for interest. Identity and interest, then, dear students, we must understand that they influence each other. They jointly determine the actions. Alexander Whedon points out that identity is not fixed. Rather, this identity is generated through the interactions of the international community. Only after identity is determined, then identity defines the interest. Alexander Whedon also points out that national interests change according to the changes of identity. Now, when we try to go deeper towards Alexander Whedon's work, we get the sense that this work talks about variety of anarchic cultures. Let us have a look at them one by one. The Hobbesian anarchy, when we refer to the work of Thomas Hobbes in his very important work Leviathan, that is how states are seen as enemies. The second variety of anarchic culture is that the Lockean, that is when we understand that states have shared ideas but they are rivals. And the third variety that is being discussed is the Kantian, that is, if one state treats another as a friend, these states will develop shared institutions amongst them dependent on no use of war and fight as team. Let's take some important arguments and statements from the work of Kenneth Waltz. We quote that, I argue that self-help and power politics do not follow either logically or causally from anarchy. From the same quoting, there is no logic of anarchy apart from the practices that create and instantiate one structure of identities and interests rather than another structure has no existence or causal powers apart from the process. So, this is where the constructivist perspective gives us a new way to look at international reality. As the article points out, once again we quote that self-help and power politics are institutions, not essential features of anarchy. And that in the same quote from the work, anarchy is what states make of it. Self-help and power politics do not follow either logically or causally from anarchy. And that if today we find ourselves in a self-help world, this is due to process, not structure. So, this is where the constructivist ideas in international relations presents to us a way out of a critique of the rationalist status quoist theory. The rationalist status quoist theory, like neo-realist theory, somewhere, there was no space for change. As contrast to the traditional perspective, the constructivist perspective definitely paves way to comprehend change with respect to international reality. There was too much focus on the state, and somewhere, as the critique pointed out, that with this too much focus on the state, a lot of other aspects were ignored. The constructivist perspective adds more to it by pointing out that how our processes, our norms, our identities have a bearing with respect to the state behavior. Quoting from the same work, that is, states act towards other states based on the intersubjective meaning that those states have for them. Now, this is very essential to understand, that as Alexander Weden talks about this intersubjective meanings, because the earlier perspective, namely the realist and the neo-realist perspective, somewhere understood international relations in a manner of power and conflict only. The other contrasting side, the liberal side, understood the power dynamics with reference to cooperative avenues also. Now, between these two strands, the constructivist perspective makes a very important addition, that is, how identities, ideas, the intersubjective meanings, they have a bearing with reference to our understanding of global reality, and this also then has a bearing with reference to how states act with reference to each other. Quoting from this very important work, that is, interests of states are not stable and uniform. Rather, states define their interests in the process of defining situations. So, one gets the sense here that constructivism paves way for a much flexible understanding of global reality. It paves way for change to be factored in dynamics of global governance, because interests are not static. Interests are redefined with reference to the process of defining situations. And somewhere we get the sense that how text and context correlate to each other. Alexander Weden's work, that is, Anarchy is What States Make of It, it definitely underlines this very important aspect. Quoting from the same work, how Alexander Weden points out that self-help constitutes a particular form of anarchy that is not necessarily the only type. So, we get the sense that how the constructivist perspective as an ontology, by giving us new perspective with reference to human nature, the construction of ideas, the world, it gives us a very much diverse framework to understand global reality. At the beginning of this article, Weden makes a very important assumption, and we put that before you. That is, the aim of the work is to build a bridge by developing a constructivist argument drawn from structuralist and symbolic interactionist sociology on behalf of the liberal claim that international institutions can transform state identities and interests. Alexander Weden presents the constructivist critique of the fundamental structural pillar or framework, we can say, of the mainstream international relations theory, and how he presents to us a very important note that we must factor in our answers and in our future research also, that multiple understandings of anarchy are possible, and that implications of anarchy are not constant across all issues, Alexander Weden points out that international anarchy has no predetermined meaning. In the same line, quoting from the work of Alexander Weden, that it is collective meanings which constitute the structures which organize our actions, and that effects of anarchy can be lessened through the creation of institutions as it internalizes identities and interests, thus creating new understanding of self and the other. Institutions can help reconstruct identities. An example here, that is how Germany, when we look at the First World War, when we look at the Second World War, it was seen as an aggressive state. But when we look at the contemporary global reality, when we look at the European Union, Germany is no longer viewed as an aggressive state. It has diversified its economy as well as its national interest stakes. So, the important perspective that the constructivist ideas present to us, that is, institutions can help in reconstruction of identities. Constructivism presents to us this very important idea that identity as an empirical question, it must be theorized within a historical context. And we must have a comparative analysis also here. For example, neorealism. Neorealism assumed that units in the global governance framework, in global politics, have only one meaningful identity, that is that of self-interested states. Constructivism, on the other hand, presents to us this very important idea that how institutions have a bearing with reference to identities, how collective meanings then have a bearing with reference to the structures. So, constructivism points out that one must look at identity as an empirical question that must be looked at within the historical context. Neorealism, once again taking the comparative analogy further and contrasting the two perspectives, neorealism looks at permanence and timelessness of the international system. That is, the permanence is defined with reference to statism, self-help, survival. The timelessness is referred, that is, its national interest which is sacred, and the national interest must be seen with reference to the military capability, the one-sided aspect. The constructivist perspective, dear learners, it presents to us the idea that change is possible. Both material and non-material aspects need to be factored in within the dynamics of global governance. So, what we see here is that the world, by the constructivist perspective, the world is seen as socially constructed. Nature of reality, that we all know that ontology, it points towards nature of reality. So, constructivism has often been dubbed as an ontological perspective, that it looks at how nature of international reality must be analyzed with reference to social norms, social forces, ideas, interests, amongst others. So, what we see here is that within constructivism and neorealism, they may have some kind of differences, but there is a common assumption also that interests imply choices. For neorealism, states have the same meaning, that is a priori interest, that is they have a single meaning. Power in all, whichever perspective we take, power no doubt is seen as source of authority in global politics. For the neorealist camp, the neorealist perspective, power was signified with reference to the military quest, domination, amongst others. But for the constructivist perspective, both material and discursive, the non-material aspects also are equally necessary. An important perspective, that is the argument by Friedrich Kratochwill, that is, theory of culture can substitute theory of power. And this is an important critique also that we must factor in of the constructivist perspective of the work of Alexander Wedin, that constructivism is an approach, not a theory. Constructivism is an ontology, not a theory. Similarly, Paul Covert and Jeffrey Legros also point out that no causal theory of identity construction can be traced in the work of Alexander Wedin, or for that matter when we look at Peter Katzenstein's work, that is, there is no correlative relationship between an identity and an outcome. Then when we look at rationalism and reflectivism debate also, we all know that international relations has been a domain of debates. We saw that there was very popular idealist versus realist debate. Then the debate followed by the behavioral methods, followed by the inter-paradigm debate, realism, liberalism and Marxism, followed by the debate of rationalism and reflectivism. The rationalist debate theories, they are seen as status quoist, whereas the reflectivist theories, they are seen to be giving more space to the human agencies. Now, Alexander Wedin is criticized by both sides. If we refer to the work of Ted Hopf, that is the promise of constructivism in international relations theory, this is from International Security, and this work in 1998 presents to us very important idea, that is how Alexander Wedin is criticized by both the sides. That is, it has the ontology of reflectivism but epistemology of rationalism. So herein also how this work is criticized by both sides. Robert Keohane also criticizes Alexander Wedin, that is, it has somewhere incorporated neoliberalism into materialism. As we delve deeper into the work, one gets the sense that it's like an advocate of neorealism. Martha Finney-Moore, another important work that we must refer, that is National Interest in International Society from Cornell University Press 1996. Martha Finney-Moore also points out that how the work of Alexander Wedin, it ignores the influence of international organizations. So dear learners, in the lecture we try to focus on how constructivism with reference to international relations theory has an important bearing with reference to adding a more diverse approach in terms of our comprehension of international reality. The end of the Cold War presented huge challenge both for the theory and practice of international relations. Events like collapse of the Soviet Union were not accounted and well explained by the already existing theories, namely the realist and the neo-realist. In this framework, the constructivist perspective adds more to the framework by focusing on how international reality is socially constructed. In this framework, the work of Alexander Wedin is indeed very important. Two of the very important work that we discuss for the lecture, that is Anarchy is What States Make of It, the social construction of power politics, and the second work, Social Theory of International Politics. Both these works are very important. You must draw references from this work while presenting your ideas, while presenting your research papers, while writing your specialized articles with reference to constructivism and the important arguments and assumptions it presents with reference to the theory of international relations. Today, no doubt, international reality is very complex and contested, and within this complexity, the diversity that the constructivist perspective offers indeed adds more to our understanding and comprehension of international relations. Dear learners, we hope that the lecture Constructivism and International Relations Theory presented to you significant inputs and insights. We look forward to positive, encouraging feedback from you all. Thank you very much.